Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome back to another explainer. Today, we're taking a really fascinating look at the world of ballroom dance. More specifically, we're looking at what happens when adults decide to step onto that dance floor for the very first time. We're going to unpack the surprisingly psychological barriers of learning to dance as an adult. We so often think of dance as a purely physical challenge, right? But the source material we're looking at today reveals that the true hurdles, well, they're actually in our heads. So we're going to break down exactly what those common fears are, and more importantly, how you can conquer them. Let me ask you this directly. What do you think is the absolute hardest part of ballroom dance? Seriously, take a second and think about it. Most people immediately, and totally incorrectly, by the way, assume it's going to be tricky footwork. You're probably picturing like super complex spins, crazy physical stamina, or trying to memorize a massive sequence of complicated choreography. And hey, it makes sense. It is entirely natural to assume the physical exertion is the massive mountain you've got to climb here. But here's the spoiler. It's absolutely not the steps. The true barrier, the thing that literally stops most adults before they even hear the music play, is actually emotional vulnerability. It's that paralyzing fear of getting things wrong in public. Whether you're returning to dance after, say, years away, or trying it for the very first time, the uncertainty about your body, your timing, and your connection with a partner, that quickly becomes the main wall blocking your progress.
Part 1. The physical vulnerability.
This physical anxiety often starts with a single, very nervous thought. I'll look awkward or uncoordinated. It's that nagging internal voice telling you that the second you step into the studio, everyone else in the room already knows exactly what they're doing, and you're going to stick out like a sore thumb. And let's be real, it is entirely valid to feel that worry. We're adults. We are so used to being completely confident in our daily lives, at our jobs, in our routines. Stepping back into a true beginner's mindset purely physically feels incredibly exposing. But here is how we deconstruct that exact fear. Studios actually teach in very, very gradual layers. They aren't going to just throw you into complex, high-speed choreography on day one. No way. You start with 3 foundational basics. First, posture, then foot placement, and finally, simple patterns. You are literally building this from the ground up. This layered approach is intentionally designed to keep you grounded and completely prevent that feeling of being totally physically overwhelmed. And this brilliantly illustrates a key mindset shift. To combat all this anxiety, instructors strongly recommend shifting your focus entirely away from performance, that intense pressure of looking polished and perfect, and instead moving it toward the process. The process just means practicing consistent timing, holding a comfortable frame, and maintaining controlled movement. If you're doing those 3 process-oriented things, you are actually dancing correctly, even if it doesn't look like a shiny, polished movie scene quite yet. Focus on the mechanics, not the mirror. Now, another huge manifestation of physical vulnerability is this very specific fear: I'm too late to start. This is the anxiety of somehow aging out of dance. It's the completely false assumption that just because you didn't spend your entire childhood in a tutu or taking tap lessons, you've missed the boat, and you'll never be good enough to enjoy ballroom dancing now. Well, let's completely shatter that myth right now. The myth tells us that childhood training is absolutely required. But the reality is that ballroom dance is actually all about repetition, building muscle memory, and developing a comfort with rhythm. It is definitely not about age. In fact, many studios deliberately mix levels and emphasize highly inclusive instruction. Instructors are there to coach beginners to match their own physical pace. So you are never, ever expected to jump ahead faster than your specific body can learn. Part 2. Decoding partner etiquette and judgment. Okay, so dancing with a partner brings up a whole new set of anxieties, usually sounding something like this. I don't know the etiquette. What if I do it wrong? Ballroom dance has incredibly specific, unspoken partner norms. Like, how do you greet them? How do you maintain a physical connection without it being super weird? Adults deeply worry they're going to misunderstand hand placement, spacing, or the unspoken rules for taking turns. It's a very, very normal social anxiety. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how surprisingly simple the solution is. A cheat sheet of clarifying questions. Before your very first dance, literally just ask your instructor. Ask things like, is there a standard way to hold the frame? Or how do we actually switch partners during drills? Most studios explicitly teach these rules to new students anyway, but proactively asking these questions instantly neutralizes the anxiety. You're just bringing those unspoken rules right out into the open. Then, of course, there is the social fear of the room itself. I'll be judged by better dancers.
This is a completely paralyzing fear for so many. It's the firm belief that those experienced dancers twirling effortlessly in the corner are secretly watching you, noting your every mistake, and judging your lack of coordination. For adult learners, this fear of peer judgment causes major embarrassment. But wait, while your fear says that everyone is watching your mistakes, the reality is that your classmates are incredibly focused on their own learning. Honestly, if they are looking at you, they're likely focused on helping. Classmates and instructors are usually staring intensely at their own 2 feet, just trying to remember the next step. In the early stages of a class, everyone is in the exact same boat. They are definitely not judging you, they're just surviving their own process. If you still find yourself worried about comparisons, try this. Focus your entire mindset on the number 1. Your goal for your first few sessions should be to learn just one single useful thing per class. Maybe that one thing is how to initiate a basic step. Maybe it's how to recover smoothly when you make a misstep. Or maybe, honestly, it's just maintaining calm breathing. When your goal is to achieve just one single thing, your progress becomes incredibly measurable, and the imagined judgment of others becomes completely irrelevant to your success. Part 3. Beating the pace. Let's be honest, it is a very normal concern to look at a fast-moving class and think, I won't keep up with the class. Ballroom classes can move quickly, and adults rightfully worry that the pace will expose their limitations in learning speed or stamina. Actually, scratch that. It's especially true if you haven't taken a formal dance class before. It is a completely valid worry to have. So, the crucial point is understanding and applying a highly effective psychological strategy called the minimum win. This means choosing one incredibly simple goal per lesson. Something like just remembering the first count of a pattern, or staying within a comfortable range of motion. You secure that win, and then you only add complexity when that foundation feels steady. Instructors actively build their teaching in layers across weeks to support this exact strategy. You don't have to learn the whole routine today. You just need your minimum win. Let's move to and see how this builds into part 4, finding your confidence. Ultimately, starting ballroom as an adult is not about magically eliminating your nerves before you begin. That's practically impossible. It's actually a structured 3-step journey. First, you allow a supportive path through your nerves. Second, you focus on clear etiquette and those process-driven fundamentals we talked about. And third, you just complete a handful of practices. By doing this, you're going to find that the confidence you're desperately seeking doesn't happen by magic. It actually arrives much sooner than expected, simply as a result of taking this supportive, structured path. And that brings us to the end of our explainer today. We've seen that the biggest hurdles to learning something like ballroom dance aren't physical at all. They are the mental barriers of vulnerability, judgment, and pacing. But by reframing your focus to the process and seeking out that minimum win, you completely conquer the fear. So I leave you with this final provocative thought to take with you. Whether it's ballroom dancing, learning a new language, or picking up an intimidating new skill at work, what will your minimum win be for your next new adventure? Think about it. Thanks for learning with me today.